All right. Good morning, video producers. This is Mr. Granlund. I'm going to update these intro project tutorials. So right now, I'm on the Google Classroom page, and I'm going to download each of the files of footage that I need. So I'm going to click on Mr. G versus Mr. G.mpg, and we're going to go to the download button. Now, if you don't see this right here, you're going to go to the three dots, and it's going to open up a new window, and then you should be able to download the footage. So I'm going to click that to start downloading the footage. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the same thing for explosion.mpg. And again, I'm going to open it up and download the footage. Now you're going to need to open up Premiere. If you go to the lower left hand corner and you click in the you type in Premiere in the search bar down there, you'll pull up something like this. Now I've already opened this, and this is Adobe Premiere Pro CC, and you're going to be working with Adobe Premiere Pro CS6. Slightly different version, but you're going to do some of the same kind of clicks. You're going to find the icon that says New Project, and you're going to click on it. And in here, you're going to type Intro Project. Now yours is going to look a little bit different, and the name of the project is going to be at the bottom for you. I'm going to click OK. And then we're going to come to a second window where we're going to select the type of sequence. It doesn't come up for me because I have that option disabled. But if I go to New and Sequence, you'll see this window. Now for me, I have some slightly different options here. We're going to click on DV-NTSC. We're going to do widescreen, either 32 kilohertz or 48 kilohertz. With our footage, it's not really going to matter one way or the other. Widescreen 48, and then click OK. Now in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to have the project area, and this is where all of your footage is going to get imported to. Let's go ahead and import our other footage. We're going to go to File, we're going to go to Import, and we're going to import our pieces of footage here. We had Mr. G versus MP, okay? And then we also had our explosion. So we're going to go to File, Import, and we're going to type in explosion.mpg. Again, that was File, Import, or you could also do Control-I on the keyboard. Now I'm going to double click this footage to bring it into my source monitor here so I can edit it in here. The first cut I'm going to make here is going to be around the 1 second mark as I start to move forward. So right about there, 1 second, 18 frames. I'm going to then go forward to where I hold up my hand just like that, right there. I'm going to select the mark out point, or the right bracket, at about the 25 to 26 second mark. Now it selects just this portion of the video, and I'm going to drag this down to video track 1. So here we go. Click and drag video track 1. And it gives you this option: do you want to change the sequence settings or keep them? And you pretty much always want to change your sequence settings so it best fits your footage. I'm going to zoom in by bringing these two ends closer together. It allows me to zoom in on my footage. Okay? So here's me acting just on the left side. Now I'm going to go forward in time to right about the 46, 47 second mark as I start to skip in to the frames. So I'm going to do the left bracket to mark in. I'm going to go forward to about 1 minute and 10 seconds. There you go, 1 minute 10 seconds, 27 frames. I'm going to mark the out point. I'm going to bring this footage into video track 2. So here we go, click and drag from the source monitor down to the timeline. Now everything in the timeline here is going to show up in the program monitor. But right now, my footage of me acting on the right side is covering up my footage of me acting on the left side. The way I'm going to cut through these two things is I'm going to use an effect called 4-point garbage matte. So in the lower left-hand corner here, we're going to type in the search bar under the Effects tab. And we're going to go to four, F-O-U-R, point, garbage, mat. Now in this version of Premiere Pro, the garbage mats are actually in the effect controls already. It's preloaded into every piece of footage. But you're going to find 4-point garbage mat if you just start typing 4. You're going to drag it from here and drag it to your footage. For me, because this functions a little bit differently, I'm going to click on the footage here, and I'm going to find this thing. It says create a 4-point polygon mask, which is the same thing as a garbage mat. Now if I click it, it gives me these points. If you click on your 4-point garbage mat in the effect controls here under this tab, it'll also give you some points to move around. Now I want these points to cut down the middle here, and now you can see that I have 2 clones right here. If I turn off the first one, you can just see the one on the right. If I turn off the back one, you see it's black behind there. Okay, because we got rid of that half of the video using the garbage mat tool. Okay, so at this point, you should definitely do a file save or Control S on the keyboard. Now let's put in that explosion. So I'm going to take this explosion here, and I'm going to have one of my clones blow up. So I'm going to take the explosion, and I'm just going to go right into the timeline here, drag it towards the end. But if you notice, the timeline goes black. Well, I'm going to use another effect called Luma Key. L-U-M-A, and here it is, Luma Key. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to drag it right onto the footage, and it's going to work instantaneously. Boom. Look at that. So now we have this explosion, but there's a problem. I stay there. So what I want to do is I want to time so that the video on video track 2 stops when the explosion covers that clone. So I'm going to get in real close. I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to move to the point where the explosion covers me. Now I'm going to move this edge of the timeline back till it meets the line. So now what I have, we have the explosion starting. When it covers me, that video track stops, and then I'm gone. Now again, to make this explosion, to cut out all the black pixels from it, we're going to use the effect called Luma Key. Now this effect isn't quite done yet. Let's hop on over to YouTube Audio Library, and we're going to get some sound effects and some music. So I'm going to search the sound effects and look for explosion. Okay? And this one sounds good. And I'm going to download that. I'll import that in. And you know what? As long as I'm here, I'm going to get some music as well. Something that's kind of dark. Perfect. And I'm going to download that as well. I'm going to hop back over to my composition in Premiere Pro. I'm going to import those new files. So we're going to go to File, Import, and we're going to look for those new songs that we just downloaded. We had an explosion, big explosion cut off. We're going to open that. And then it was called Jewels. And we could also search by date. I have a ton of stuff in here. City of Jewels, there we go. To bring in these audio files, we could double click, bring it into here, select an in and out point for our sound effect. Now I can't just click and drag here, I have to go to the audio tool here. And I'm going to line that up with the explosion thing there. And then with the audio for City of Jewels, I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring that down underneath everything else. So here we are, City of Jewels. I'm going to bring this underneath everything, and it's going to automatically make another audio track. I want to make sure that this audio track cuts off at the right time. So I'm going to use my razor tool right here. I'm going to cut the audio. And I can right click after the cut here and just clear it. And that's done. Last thing to do is to put a title on this and then export it. If we go up to File and New and go to Title, you can make a new title. You can also do that same thing in this by clicking on this icon here and go to Title. I'm going to make a title this way, New Title. Doesn't matter what you'd call it. It brings up this window here. You're going to click on one of the text types and just give it a title or put your name on there. Once you've got your title, you're going to close this. And we're going to drag this onto video track 3 around the beginning. So now we have a title at the beginning. And here is the final video. All right, sounds and looks great. If I wanted to sweeten things a bit, like if that audio was too loud, I could go to the audio track mixer, and it is audio track 5, and I could turn down audio track 5 here, so it's not quite so loud. That sounds better. Now it's time to export. So I'm going to, again, save my project before I do anything, and we're going to export this. So File, Export, and Media. Your options are going to be a little bit different, but you're going to select H.264 from the list of options here. Going to make sure it's exporting the audio and video, and you're going to click on the output name. Your letters are going to be in yellow writing. Mine is in blue. And we're going to type intro project, and maybe want to add something, to let you know that this one is the finished, completed one, done. And if you've made like several of these, maybe it's like done 2 or 3 or 4, etc., etc. But some sort of intro project so that you know what you're supposed to turn in. We're going to save this up. And then down at the bottom, we're going to click the Export button. All right. Now it's time to turn it in. We're going to head back over to the Video Production 1 page. You're going to go to the Intro Project Turn In. And you're going to upload your project here. So you're going to have to attach a file, and it's going to be automatically attached to your name. And that's how you do the intro project.